Well, Dr. Jackson Janes is a senior fellow at the German Marshall Fund. He's also the president emeritus of the American Institute for Contemporary German Studies at Johns Hopkins University and joins us now. Dr. Janes, thank you very much for being with us. There are three main front runners, Olaf Scholz, Armin Laschet and Annalena Baerbock. Who looks set to come out on top?
At the moment, if you pay attention to the polls, Mr. Scholz is lightly ahead, but I still think it's going to be a close horse race. And one of the things that you have to remember is that the popularity of the individual doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to lead to a coalition government. That becomes a hard poker game after Sunday's election.
You mentioned a coalition government there. What are the mechanics, if the vote is close, for coalition governments in Germany?
Well, clearly there's going to be two options of the mechanics. One is going to be a coalition that's either going to be led by the SPD under the management of Mr. Scholz, and will include the Greens and potentially, likely, the Free Democrats, the Liberal Party. That would be the traffic light coalition. The option is a Jamaica, or otherwise known as a black, green, yellow coalition between the CDU, the FDP, and the Greens. So you can see in either case the Greens are in, and possibly in either case the FDP is in. The question is, who will lead the coalition?
Climate change has been a big issue. This is the first time the Greens have had a candidate as Chancellor. How significant has the climate change discussion been in the candidates' campaigns?
Very significant. It's always significant in Germany. Environmental issues are high up on the agenda. But of course, they had these terrible floods earlier this year, and that has brought home to many voters in the two states that were particularly hard hit how much that really does have concrete implications. And so that's going to be a far greater interest, I think, at this point in this particular election.
What do you see as the other main challenges for the new German leader?
There's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be necessary to deal with on the domestic platform as well as the foreign policy platform. The domestic issues include the renovation of the economy, heading toward digitalization, dealing with trade issues, and a host of questions that are at once domestic but also European. In other words, the European Union issues at stake. A lot of centrifugal forces at work. On the foreign policy front, the same thing. There'll be a lot of questions that are remaining unanswered as Merkel leaves office.
Dr. Jackson Janes from the German Marshall Fund. We'll have to leave it there. Thanks very much for being with us. Appreciate it.